right. People gonna start trickling in because I was late. Sorry. Last minute bug fixing. Yeah, that was not how I wanted to spend my evening. Chasing down a couple of bugs I didn't know existed, but I got them. Hey there. Let me ping Twitter real quickly. And one or two more spots real quick. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Kind of rushed getting out here after I finally got everything fixed. Okay. All right. Got people still scrolling in. Got 25 people here, so we can go pretty soon. So let me drop a link in the chat if you haven't gotten it, of the release notes. Release notes are up on the devlog, which seemed like the appropriate place to put them. There you go. So those are the release notes. I'm going to go through the release notes. I'll bring them up and walk through them a little bit, and then I'll show you what some of those features are. Hey, Liz, how you doing? Download traffic. Well, hey, it's not my server, it's Shopify. So if Shopify goes down, I'm sorry, it'll come back. Why does my camera look all fussy? Hey, how's it going? Let me see here. Yeah, I have the page up. So I can. Okay. I'm gonna bring these up. I didn't really mean to put them in right away, but yeah, I don't know what turn fuzzy put up. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my camera. Let me just make sure it's clean. Looks clean. Right about that. Maybe if I do that, it'll help. Anyhow, you don't need to see my face. You've been waiting all day for this. Great. I have too. I had to go work my day job and not work on this, and then I ended up having to drive kids all over the place tonight, which I wasn't expecting, which delayed me a bit. But there's a lot in here. A lot of stuff many of you won't even notice, but hopefully someone here will notice all of these. There are some things that did not make it in, and just to be clear, this is not the Mac OS build. No, your old MacBook, yeah, your old MacBook probably works. It probably worked in the old one with VMware Fusion, but the Mac OS build is right after this one. I got Mac, but some of the changes here were required for the Mac OS build. Yes, I know, Eric, you've been waiting forever, especially for the red-blue swap. All right, so let me start walking through the list. We've got a good number of people here. And then I'm going to walk through this list a little quickly, and then I'm going to show you in HueForge what some of these changes mean. All right. So new features. There's a bunch of new features. I think you'll be surprised how many new features there are. First, I did switch to an OpenGL 3.3 renderer that greatly reduces the requirements on GPUs. Much older GPUs should work. Also, more importantly, macOS OpenGL is possible. And I have tested on Mac OS. It does run, it does render, but there are some bugs that would be unacceptable to release that I need to deal with that are platform specific. I made the shaders a lot simpler too, which generally means that more GPUs will work. There were some GPUs that were failing because they ran out of resources on certain types of variables. Anyway, that should be fixed. I have added an INI file that will get created the first time you run. you can read some of these, but basically this is how you can set to larger than 300 by 300. I'm still defaulting to 300 by 300 millimeters for max size, but if you have a need, a use case for 600 by 600, go change those numbers. Also, you can increase the number of triangles you're allowed. They're in millions. Well, they're in triangles, so it's 20 million is the default right now, which is actually quite a bit larger than it was before. 20 million triangles, so 60 million vertices. And then I have also hugely increased the size of the image files you can load. The 4K by 4K limit is no longer in place. Now the limit is 500 megs uncompressed, which is quite a bit larger than that. And if you run into a problem, you can increase that number. It's just going to be a little bit more processor intensive on your system. If your system can deal with it, go for it. Increasing the max triangles value is going to let you do smaller detail, smaller min detail with larger meshes. So it won't scale you down. Hey, Ed, you barely missed the beginning. I'm just walking through the notes and we're going to get going. You weren't actually late. I was late. You're not late. I'm late. Okay. So the common issue where the docks get destroyed or removed, you can now restore them. There's actually an X button on them. You can X them out if you want, but you can also restore them. Well, it's the uncompressed size of an image, Matt. So once the image gets decompressed in the system, then it gets a lot bigger. So if you have like a JPEG that maybe only like 10 or 15, 10 megs, but when you decompress it full image space, it's much, much bigger. Okay. It will remember your last project directory and default to reuse it. There might still be some bugs around here. This is one of the places I ran into an issue here right at the end of the day. I think I fixed most of them, but it is possible. One of the things that's true is that it won't work as well with moving projects around. If you move projects around to like try to give projects to other people, it'll have more trouble. It will load a project where, as long as if it can't find the image file where you say it is, it will look for the image file locally. But there's still some issues there that I need to sort out. But generally speaking, if you are consistent on your system of using the same directories, it'll work. Yes, you can increase the triangles to choke the slicer even more, or you can increase the overall size and reduce the detail size, or make the details bigger and keep the same triangles. But you now have the option of being 600 by 600 or 1,000 by 1,000, whatever you decide, whatever crazy number you decide, you can put into HueForge. Okay, and then right now I don't chop anything up at this point. It'll also, if you want to export your STLs to a different folder and you do a save, you do an export STL. You can also then say that you want to export STLs to that folder, even from your project. So when you save a project, you can always save your STLs into that folder. You have to uncheck that menu option. I'll show you, but that'll work. And then there's a bunch of different STL file names options you can put in there. Most people don't. I think they just leave the front back, and they might even turn off the front and just the size, because the size is helpful to have. But there, you can actually put your brightness compensation and your luminance method in there as well. They didn't stick. You had to check them every time, so I'm sure no one used them. They stick now. Also, and it's down lower, but I know everyone cares, dark mode sticks now. Then you get okay, when you change some filaments and you go to exit, it's going to give you, it's crude, it can definitely be increased, but it's going to give you a dialog with side-by-side comparisons of the filaments you have, where they are now and where they were, and then you're going to see you will checkbox and say which ones you want to save. So if you accidentally change something, or you're like, oh yeah, I did, that was just a test, that's not right, you can undo that. The owned and unknown categories in the filament library, you can collapse them, so you can just make all those filaments disappear. Mostly for unowned. If you don't own a filament, you don't really want to see it. Okay, so this is a big one that will make importing your own. I don't even know what resetting all the color sliders means. That's not actually like a meaningful statement to me. Reset to what? You want to reload your project? Reload your project. You want to reload your defaults? Reload your defaults. I don't know what reset all color sliders actually means. Okay, so any properly formatted filament JSON file put into your filament folder or the subfolders will load. All of them will load, and then they'll combine themselves into one file, an owned and an unowned file in your main directory. And then if you change those files, they will if you change those files, like if you change those filaments change in the local copy, and they don't change in the ones that you put into subdirectories. It'll load your main folder first, then load your community folder, then load your vendors folder, and that way you can just drop in. Oh, someone gives you a community file for 3D Max filaments. You just drop it into your communities folder, and it'll automatically ingest them. Okay. I have an updated color aware luminance mode. It is very alpha. It is, if you think the luminance based coloring is complicated and confusing, this is more confusing. I'll show you. It's very alpha, but it can work on some images. And it does let you have your blue, then your red, then your green stacked together. So all the blues are at the bottom, all the reds are in the middle, and all the greens are at the top. And then the black through white is all spread across the spectrum. TDs in the filament library are locked. So you know how when you slide around, you scroll, people scrolled and they're adjusting the TDs, they're locked. You have to double click them to make them editable, and then recheck them. Double click them again to make them go back to unenabled. There's a Bamboo Labs vendor library that Ian and I put together, and a Polymaker vendor library that's been updated with PETG, ASA, and ABS. This one is invisible to you, but I've upgraded to QT long-term support version. Seems like a good version to be on. And then, but that means that you need to unzip this thing on top of your directory. You need to replace your whole directory. So you need to reset the whole directory, copy over the whole directory. Fortunately, I didn't use filament library.json, so your filament library should still be good. Obviously, you can copy out the filament library just to be safe. But yeah, you want to unzip on top of your old one because all the libraries change underneath. Something that you probably didn't know I was doing, but someone detected in Facebook, is that I was doing this sRGB linearize function. Now it's an optional checkbox you can set or not. If you rotate your images in Windows or your OS of choice, or it's come to you rotated with a metadata field rather than an actual rotation, this will pay attention to that. Your color sliders scale vertically with the docs, and people ask for that. I've added some links I actually added links to the YouTube channel and for the Polymaker filament packs in here. That's obviously an affiliate link. We added sets. I added filament sets for all the packs. So if you do get a pack, that set is already in. If you hate the sets, just go delete the files out of the sets directory. And then the color aware example project, there's a few more projects. We added some of the Polymaker filament set projects as well. Oh, this one is one that Ian asked for specifically, and I was able to sneak it in there. Brightness adjustment. You can now, there's an option, there's a combo box next to it that says 0.01. That's the default step size, but you can adjust it to 0.1, which would be much, much faster, or 0.001. How does it handle duplicate filaments with different TDs when you have multiple libraries? Good question. So all the filaments have GUIDs right now, and if the GUIDs are different, it's considered a different filament. So that is going to cause some issues on a few things. Some of the Polymaker libraries don't have the same GUIDs that they used to have before. Like some of the Polymaker JSON definitions do not have the same GUID they used to have. However, if you have brought in, this is why I separated it. If you have brought in, you said, oh, I actually own that filament. This is one of my, I have these Polymaker filaments. I have these Bamboo Lab filaments, and I own them. And you say, but I don't think their TD value is right, or my spool is different, so I'm changing the TD value. The way it works is that when those GUIDs match, it takes your library as the priority. So it says, oh, well, that's why it loads your library first. It loads your library, and then it goes and checks for the other libraries. And if it's a duplicate, then it goes away. So the sRGB function really only affects some images, and it is a linearization that you are supposed to do for sRGB before you do luminance. But I find 1 in 8 images, 1 in 10 images actually has a impact to check or uncheck that box. Okay. Yeah, so the brightness adjust. Now you can go down to 1,000th rather than just 100th, rather than just 1%. You can do 1/10%, which means, I don't know if you've done it, but I've done a bunch of times where I'm adjusting the brightness slider and one step is too big. Well, now you have 10 steps in between. So it's much, much more granular. You don't want to scroll with that. You click and drag or switch modes to go through and adjust the brightness. But if you're near the brightness, you might want to switch to that and get it dialed in. Describe dialog gives you much better directions. Now it tells you to start at a color, add a layer, change to a color, and so forth and so on. And also it will warn you if you've mixed filament types, and it will warn you if you have sliders that are higher than the top of your mesh. Okay. Oh, this is a big one. So bug fixes now. Oh, so things you didn't see. There is no undo yet. There is no Mac OS yet. There is no dragging and dropping sliders or rearranging them yet. I had to cut off this. This got really big. I had to cut it off somewhere to get a release out. So continuing to work on this. So that's where I'm working on. Okay, good. I'm liking it. All right. Bug fixes. So people did still notice that if you added a color and then dropped it to the bottom to 0 and you were on dynamic or clipped depth modes, you would still see that color on the top. That's fixed. Image extensions are no longer case sensitive. Kind of embarrassed that I had that in there in the first place. That's fixed. The big fix here, luminance ordering, is fixed. However, all of your old, you should have a download receipt, by the way, or download link. It should have been sent out. I updated all of them, I believe. If you didn't get one, tell me what kind you have. Or please check your spam folder. Sorry, there is no undo yet. What we're going to get first is a save state, and then we'll get an undo. So you'll be able to save. You'll be able to say, I want to bookmark this particular state and reload it later, and it'll be real quick and easy. So next thing is, let's see here. Oh, the luminance ordering. Luminance ordering was backwards. I had I thought it was RGB, but it was BGR. So my red and my blue were toggled in their order they should be in a normal luminance model. And but your old projects will be broken. Like, they won't work. So it will, if it's not set in the project, it defaults that to set to true on a legacy mode. So there's a checkbox that's for legacy. So your old projects should load and look the same as they always looked. But then you should undo that checkbox and fix them. But I just wanted to make sure your projects didn't break right away. Lithophane projects, people were having problems with when you saved them and you reloaded them, they reloaded with flipped sliders, so they had to redo the whole thing. So that's been saved, and it should work on your old projects. Your projects were fine. It was loading poorly, so as long as you didn't resave them, your old projects are good, and you should be able to load those. I know Reap was having issues with that. They save properly in alternate directories if they're set instead of insisting on saving the projects or the HueForge root directory. There might still be some bugs here. I ran into some issues here. I'm still working through these. Mostly, I think the bugs have to do with if the path for your, I think I figured out what the issue was, but I was chasing down other bugs. And there's going to be another probably real quick patch in the next week. I'll probably patch some things with the Mac OS version. But basically, if your image file is not where it says it is, but it's in the directory with the project, it'll load it, and then the save doesn't go in the right place. So that's the problem there, and I'll fix that coming up. Image files okay, so this was an issue where it would come in and it would say, oh, you use this image file from another project. It wouldn't save right. It wouldn't create a copy, and it wouldn't use the old name. So right now it creates a copy. So if you have multiple projects with distinct names in the same directory, it should work. Describe and remesh buttons, they were hidden behind the geometry dock in a lot of cases for people. So that's fixed. They're now at the top of the screen. So if you're looking for describe and remesh, they're at the top now. And also remesh should be necessary less often. There are still some cases that you need it, but it should be needed less often. Hey, Zombie. No link yet, Ike. You haven't gotten an email? It's not just a link, it's an email. Tell me what version you have, because it's possible I missed one of them. I thought I got all 4. Luminance. Oh, this is the zombie hedgehog fix. Luminance image properly updates with changes to luminance, negative, and new image files. Also, and I believe I have this, yes, switching between filament painting and lithophane modes now switches the negative checkbox for expected luminance image behavior. So that doesn't make sense, right? So when you switch, instead of leaving the negative box the same and just changing some stuff behind the scenes, it now actually makes it a negative of what it was. They're actually kind of backwards, but they are They are correct. And then that will correctly update the luminance image behavior to be what you think it will be, what you think it should be. Oh, I know, Zombie. Zombie, you will definitely find more ways to break it. Everyone will. Oh, simple thing. The transmission distance spin box now steps by 0.1 millimeters instead of 1. And yeah, you know, some of you have bad, there's still a couple bad emails out there, so I may be missing emails too. And some people didn't think that they put it into a spam box or something, and then they're getting updates to that email and they're not checking the right email. So fixed crash on loading of too many files with too many triangles. So a lot of people with low-end video cards are having issues with, especially the torso, the space woman, the woman in the spacesuit with the torso shot. That was crashing on load. This should fix that. Dark and light mode selection will stick. The first time up, it will load based on your OS. And then once you set it, you have to set it, then it'll stick. And I updated the defaults to be a little more appropriate for filament painting. And then I removed a lot of old OpenGL code. So still some known issues. It's still not recommended to switch repeatedly between filament painting and lithophane mode, especially if you change the number of colors and the number of sliders you have. You're just asking for trouble. The sliders get confused. I think I have some ways to fix that in the future, but it's a tricky problem. I knew this existed already. Major Gamer Geek found it in testing, and I said, this is a not fix for this. It would take me too long. Okay, this one's a kind of a big one. I'm going to try to figure it out, but I spent a whole night on this and made no progress. So if you lower your min details below about 0.15, sometimes below 0.2, meshes sometimes have little gaps at the edges sometimes. I still don't know why exactly. There's a misalignment between the way the edge is built and the mesh is built. I think it'll be one day I'll have an aha moment and fix it. It will increase the slice time is the problem. So if you should see it in your slicer. If it complains about non-manifold edges, maybe consider slightly higher detail size. It's only for real small detail sizes. 0.2 seems to work reliably. Color aware definitely leads to some speckles and some weird oddities on your image, and it is, I'm serious, it's less intuitive than the luminance mode. You're gonna have more trouble with it. Yeah, the RGB. Okay. Height range colors, if you're going to do coloring by height range, you still need to subtract a layer, and I don't have a push button to give you a different dialog. The lazy programmer rectangle still exists. As non-lazy as I was this last week, I still am too lazy to fix that. And then we just found this tonight in testing, and I've seen it before. This is not something I haven't seen. I just didn't know what the cause was, and now I know what the cause was. If you load an STL without an image, you just load an STL file, and then you drop an image in, then your resulting mesh is weird. It has a lot of empty space. It doesn't give the right depth. The mesh depth doesn't seem to be calculating correctly. I'm sure it's just that one I can fix, but I was in the middle of chasing down crashing when loading a file that had a bad image, that didn't have an image. So I will probably fix that with the macOS fix and a couple other small issues. Okay. So let me go actually bring up HueForge. I actually have it up. Let me have it take over. Hold on. Take that. Let me change. Can I change this? No, that's not what I want. I want to move that. Present. Okay. Okay, so here's HueForge. Has the artifact color bleed issue? No, you can't. I can't fix that. The issue is that your previous projects will work. I was concerned, Matt, that the legacy mode had to be. I had to add the legacy mode so that your previous projects would load and still be correct. So that's why you have the legacy checkbox there. So when you load an old project that still has the old settings, yes, the unable to read image file project path is definitely possible. You're trying to load an old project, Matt. If it didn't read the image file, yeah, there's some issues around that and the new way that I process image files. Now the program crashes. Great. Okay. I'm going to need information on that. This is good live updates. Let me show you what I got. People, can you please put information in the Discord with your if you have issues, your logs file, logs lv.logs. And if your program crashes, go ahead and clear out your registry first. It's possible it's interacting with the registry in a way that isn't happy. Yeah, so it begins all the bugs now. It's possible that do the registry fix first, and then your filament file is filament underscore library.json in the filaments folder. If you unzip, if you just want to bring that over, just bring that over. Coral Reef, you can't get to the Discord because you haven't hit me up in the store for a link, because I'm giving people links when they ask for it. If you go to store chat and ask for a link, I can see your order history and I can quickly throw you a link. Okay, try to open without it crashing so far. Okay, well, that's good. Where was your old project, Matt? Was it in projects or was it in a different folder? It is possible that that's related. Oh, well, that link was invalid. Like, it was the right link. It just, your system wasn't taking it. Is that the issue? Because I did definitely checked on those. I just did something dumb. All right. Your own directory structure. Okay. So I did some testing. Okay, thank you. I did some testing with doing files in another directory, and they seem to work. But I did have some oddities where the image file path was actually just not right at all. The one that was recorded in the image file path that was recorded in the project file was just wrong, and so, but it had been working because I was checking for the local directory to see if it was there. And when I move the path to a different directory, it's not checking. The local directory check is not working. So maybe check the inside of your HFP file and see if the path that's there for the image is actually the path the image is in. Because I think there might be an issue with how I'm trying to check the local directory, the current project directory for the image. I think that may not be working right. And so if you check inside the HFP file and find the image field and look at that path and see if that path is actually correct, and if it's totally wrong, or if it's wrong and it just happened to be loading successfully before, you probably need to adjust that. You may also want to, here, let me show you something. So one of the preferences now that you have is that you could, this one's been defaulted on, move images to project directory. If you want to have the images in a completely different directory, then you should uncheck that box so that it just leaves the images where they were. So if you could bring all your images into a folder and then you could load them in, drag and drop and create your project. And they won't be moved when you save, they'll leave it right there, and it shouldn't modify it. That's what you really want to do if you want your images in a different folder from your project. But my guess is that your image location that was in the project isn't right, but it was still loading anyway because it was loading from the local project file directory. That's my guess, but I don't know. The one who was crashing on load, Josh, without it crashing, who crashed? Stallion's crashing on load. So if you could send me your information, but yeah, after you check the Reddit. Okay. So if you export, if you set an export directory for STLs, and I never do STL export, I just say projects and pull the STLs. But if you set an STL directory and you want the STLs to go into that directory and not the projects directory, check that box. Okay. So let's look at what legacy is not going to do anything here. Let me open a different completely. I'm going to open up something I've never done. We're going to have fun today. We did that one last time. Some of these are people's things. I did this on the stream in the chat, but I haven't done this here. Okay, so we have this bird. I've done a few tests on the Bamboo Lab TD values, by the way. I haven't tested all of them personally, but Ian's been using the ones that he put in. I put the pet G in, he put everything else in. So you can be pretty confident that Ian's are right. The pet G ones could be off a little bit, but the ones that I did test worked for me. This is just an image I stole from Midjourney. I won't ever do anything commercial with this, but this is one I stole from Midjourney, the feed. I am a Midjourney member, but okay, so let's talk about some things. Let's look at, I don't think sRGB changes this one. It doesn't. It doesn't change every one. Luminance mode. Legacy will change it. You see that the color, it shifts. That's the difference between legacy mode and current mode. So we should avoid legacy mode as much as possible. Okay, let's see here. We'll try color aware later. Let's look at color aware later. Is the stream low quality for people? Good for you. Okay, so I did set the I set the default to 0.04 apparently. I didn't mean to. I mean, I think 0.04 is better, but I didn't mean to do that. But so you may want to change that. That makes dim not work. Let's go to standard. Okay. All right. So let's play with this. A couple of new things. All right. Let me see what else we got. Oh yeah. So right again, you can do light mode, dark mode. These will stick. Oh, here's your windows. Right. Let me show that real quick. If you X out of one of your docs, you can now come up to Windows and you'll see that it's unchecked, and you can bring it back. That's well, you know what? These hex numbers were from Bamboo. So if they may or may not be totally accurate. So I'm actually great to look at more new hex numbers and update these. I have no problem with that. Eagle looking eagerly. Yes, eagles looking eagerly. Let's bring in one of the things we did add. I added all of the Polymaker color packs. Let's see if any of them look good to start with. I think probably the nature set would make the most sense. And gosh, that looks terrible. Is that a color? Is that the natural Polylight PLA white? Polylight PLA. Okay, that's the same. But one we already have. All right. I think this is the set here. That does not work the way it's set up. Let's see there. Okay, getting better. The green would have to come down. The white on top of the green and the yellow on top of that. Yeah, may not be the right set here, but these sets are in. Got the blue pack, green pack. Actually, I don't have the blue pack in here, apparently. I forgot the blue pack. Okay, so let's, can you drag the color sliders to the right? Oh, here? Can I increase them? No. Away from my camera. Oh, yeah. Okay, actually, what if I do this instead? I see what you're saying. How about I just do that? But what's the default, Terry? Like the loading, I can do that. Options, restore defaults. Oops. Move to the other window. Remesh. There. That does that. You want me to move this dock over here? And then also, if you can see the sliders, if you want the sliders really tall, you can have the sliders really tall or really short. That's an option. So you just want to restore but yeah, I'll think about that. I personally don't see the use case for that. Why did you break again? That's okay. I have seen that bug before. I thought I fixed this bug. Let me change. The fix for this is to resize. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, that's okay. I understand. Yeah, turning off my camera fixed that, and none of you want to see me anyway. but I understand what you're saying. That my cover was in the place of that. The issue is that reset them to what? Because here, okay, so I understand the general idea of reset sliders, but the problem with reset sliders is reset them to where the project started, reset them to the absolute defaults here with grayscale, even if you don't have grayscale on them, reset them to, because like reset to project defaults is easy. You can reload project. You just reload project. And if you want a shortcut reset button for that, I can do that. I don't really know. Oh yeah, so if you want to reset to project original values, file, reload project, we'll do that. Except that apparently that just failed here. Yay. Oh, it wasn't a project. That's why I hadn't created a project yet. That should have been grayed out. Oh well. There's still bugs. It's still early software. We'll bring this in. Okay. I thought I had that. Okay. But yeah, if you have a project saved, you can resave, you can reload them. Yes, that's true. I see what you're saying. Okay. So what you're looking for is just reset project defaults on the sliders, or reset the default values that we came in on the sliders only, just the sliders. Okay. I can sort of understand that. I couldn't quite figure out what that meant. Okay. Yeah, the tiled images is probably coming at some point. I understand now, Terry. Okay. So just the sliders, just reset them to the project defaults. Okay. The other thing, actually, so that's probably going to be yeah, I mean, I can put that in there. The only other thing that I would say is that I am planning on putting in a snapshot, and the project start would be a snapshot. So yes, it would reset everything else, but it would I'm making air quotes and stuff. You guys can't see me. Yes, it would reset everything else, but it would also but it would be like exactly the project state you had before. Okay. Let's actually do the color aware. I'm going to tell you it's complicated. We're going to try color aware here. All right. Okay. So color aware, look, it just got wonky, right? Things got changed. So the important thing to remember with color aware is the bottom slider information is the blue range, the middle is the red, and the top is the green. And there's more room for the green to be than the others, because green is more what's the word I'm looking for? Green is brighter. Okay, so but we can use that as kind of a rangy thing. So if you see that the beak and everything is white, notice that we have much more clear delineation between the rest of the feathers here and the yellow than we normally do. If I compare this to standard, they're kind of more blended into each other. Their luminances are closer. So that's kind of what we're going for. It's not perfect. It needs to be a little bit different. What would Ed see? What do you mean by delete the image? You can open a different image and keep all your old settings, but what would you delete? Like if you delete the image, what's the mesh based on? And yeah, I actually mean for the luminance brightness compensations, I do want to put curves in there. Yes, HFP files are JSON, and I just named them HFP so that people who don't know what they are would be able to edit them too. Yeah, I just renamed them to make people a little afraid to mess with them. Yes, Josh. This allows us to color our images, but it is tricky and it is alpha. Don't expect to get perfect results from this. I think it's still going to be best with like more block colors, but we're going to gamefully try this here. So let's try this yellow PLA because we want a yellow. I'll leave the white. We leave the white in here. And then we need a blue down near the bottom. Okay, this black may be too, yep, black's too much. And then we probably need a second blue or maybe a blue-gray. Here, we'll take this ice blue. There. So now we're getting it a little bit, and I guess we need an orange up near the yellow. We may need to be a little taller. That may be something we find that these need to be a little taller, because we might actually need to be putting more colors underneath here. I am having issues with, like, where is the white? Where does that white in that eye go? It looks like the white is down here. So, like, there's a specular highlight on the eye here, but it's not tracking. These are some of the issues that I'm running into. You drop the wrong file and want to change to another. You can open another image, or you can drop another image on it, Ed. Yeah, you can, but you could say file open image, or you could drag and drop another image on there. I don't know what deleting the image would do. You can close it. You could say file close here, but I don't know what deleting an image would do. Yeah, so this is, yeah, it's kind of like that. It's not perfect, definitely. One of the big things I need to actually work on is how to, let me put this red in here. I think red would be better. Why are we not? This is the tricky part. Like, why am I not seeing this red show up? Okay, there I see the red, but I don't see the yellow. Why am I not seeing the yellow on top? So this is kind of the stuff I'm working through right now. There's some issues. Like, basically, it seems like the region that is yellow is very, very small. Oh, okay. Now, oh, it's down here. Oh, right. Reds are down here. Right. See, this is where it's tricky, right? The reds are actually below the yellows, and the greens are up the top. So it's just really tricky to get these in the right place, because they're not intuitively where you expect them to be. Probably the dark blue should be down here. Yeah, dark blue should be down here. Light blue should be up here. So that's a little bit closer to the actual image. Now, again, this is very, very early testing on this. Obviously, as you see, I have this issue where the black is not in the right place. So, like, I actually would kind of want the white in a lot of those spots, but it doesn't quite work right to do that. So that's some color matching issues I have. That these really should be, like, this should be white and white and white, and I don't have, it's not matching up to the white properly, so I can't highlight it. But I am a lot happier with how this looks. And this is something that I am more than happy to iterate on a little bit. Can we get, yeah, labeled on the left indicating the zones? Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we're going to need to figure out. This was literally something I thought of one night while I was playing around with it and said, oh, maybe, and then it kind of worked, so I left it in here to play with. Yeah, okay, we can put a chart on there. But basically, yeah, it's green up top. And actually, this is one of the kind of things that you're going to want to be able to adjust. I'm going to need to add more controls for this, that you can adjust how tall the green section is, how tall the red section is, how tall the blue section is. You probably want to see a my K version as well, potentially. And then how I match the colors is probably can be done a lot better. You can't change the order of the sliders here. You can't drag them around. No, that didn't come in. That didn't get in. But it might be interesting in this mode even to change what the sliders do and make a red zone, a green zone, and a blue zone of sliders or something. Oh, maybe what if I brought the brightness down a little bit? What if I brightness adjusted down with that? No. I think it's that I'm not considering it a white. Oh, here's a perfect example for, like, that was just a little bit too much change. But now I change this to be a little bit more subtle, and I can do smaller adjustments here and get exactly the brightness I want. Yeah. So this is, as I said, this is very counterintuitive how it works, because and yeah, you're right. Probably some sort of label here that shows like green here, red here, and blue here would be good. It's very, very early, but it is going to let you do some things. You can see that I got a lot closer. If I were to change this and try to get anywhere near this close with another method, I don't think I would succeed. I think I would have a really hard time. Is this the dark blue that's in here? No, actually, I like that dark blue. So then this would still be layer swaps. It would just be very different layer swaps handled differently. And in fact, you could end up saying, well, I actually am going to put white. You might end up putting white in multiple places. Like you might put a white, under here to brighten up part, or right above here to highlight a part, or, because because you're dealing with ranges of individual colors, you might say, oh, well, this blue gets real light and I'm going to put a white on top of it, that kind of thing. Slider for saturation or contrast. So, I mean, the brightness adjustment is basically, well, that's a brightness. That won't help the white show up here. The issue is that I'm not really detecting that it's white properly. Polymaker blue-green. Do I have that? I have like azure blue and stone blue. Do they have a blue-green? Teal? Yeah, I won't. Their teal is so opaque. That's the like so it's like really disappointing to me that it's opaque. Oh yeah, they've got the color. They got the color, the heat sensitive ones that actually have different TDs at different color at different temperatures. Starlight Neptune, or one. Ooh, that actually isn't terrible. Yeah, the teal's very bright and very opaque. Okay, so this is where the color aware is, and I think you guys are right. It's a good idea maybe to put an overlay here, and I'll get an image put together for at least the Discord. You said if I sort by name, I should be able to look for a blue-green. Blue-green. Here, Polylight Pro blue-green, down in the dark section. That's a very opaque color, so it would have to be down here. Help handset displays. Oh, like when you're over here, it'll tell you what the current mesh height is there. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, the heat changing, the TDs changed, so we had to actually record them at different temperatures because it changes color too. It changes color and TD based on its height, which was an interesting result. The green line when it's cold is a 7, and the green line when it's hot is an 8. That's not that much, but some of the other ones, the translucent cold is 4, the translucent medium is 10, and the translucent hot is 13. So they changed a lot. I think that, yeah, we need to get some resources here, and I'm going to spend some more time on this. Obviously, I'm not done with this, but I thought that everyone wants color aware, and I want people to see that it's coming. We're getting there. I'm going to move this over and bring my picture back because maybe you do need to see me. All right, let me take a few questions or things you want me to show or try out here on the stream. Does glow in the dark need to be done that way too? In terms of when it's glowing or when it's maybe bookending a gray and the blue. So blue until layered gray, 12 until, and then, okay, so you're saying, the bamboo grays, or let's do this color gray. The bamboo grays are a little bit more transmissive. Like the bamboo basic blue gray is a good one. So you want a gray like below it at what you said at 13? Gray at 13 and then blue at 12. Okay. The teal or this dark one? What if I put green in there? Let's search for blues. Oh yeah. Let me show. These are all unknown for me. You see here? You can double click and it goes away. And then also you can double click on the TD and then you can edit it and then you can double click on it again and make it go fixed. You want to put so you want to bookend the teal and just get a little bit of it in there. Here, it's just so dark. So like put that down here at like 12. I see where you're going with that. I just don't think it quite worked. To get a little highlight there. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Mesh or zone select a color correcting area such as the white missing on the beak. That's an interesting idea. Basically say everything within this mesh height area adjust it. That could happen in the future. Okay. So let me talk about the future. So the first thing, yeah, but okay. All right, Terry. If I reset these sliders, what am I resetting them to? I don't think you want them reset away from this hugely. What you really want is to say, give me a snapshot of where I'm at right now and let me get back to this snapshot. Like I'll play around and then I'll go back to the snapshot, or I'll play around, find another one I like, take another snapshot, and then okay, so Jaya, that should be fixed now. You should be able to open and close them now. The way you fix that is you actually go into your registry and delete the HueForge folder in your registry, and that will fix this. But the new version now, you can come in here and you can make them disappear and come back. And if you make them there, you have control over them now. So okay, I think I understand that. That's an interesting idea. That definitely is an interesting idea. I don't, but basically, by basically looking at the height around it, saying, okay, this is a region of the mesh, and then I want to be able to bump it up. Okay, so, okay, so what I want to talk about is what we're going forward. First thing I'm doing going forward is going to be whatever little bug fixes. What did I miss something, Kaylin? First thing I'm going to do is the Mac OS version, and then probably some small bug fixes. The second thing I'm going to do is spend a lot of time on color awareness, different options for color awareness. Yeah, so, well, Mike, undo is desired. People want desire, though I will say that the requests for undo have tapered off a little bit, maybe because everyone says, oh, the undo's not in yet. The problem is I have a lot of technical debt for undo right now that I have to overcome. And I was just trying to fix bugs and do user benefits and things like that. User improvement, there are improvements for user functionality and things like that. So right now, for me at least, undo is just too much of an ask in terms of what I'm going to get out of it, what you're going to get out of it by me adding undo at the moment. I'm not saying that's always going to be the case, but at the moment, that's going to be a big ask. Terry, do you not have the Discord link? No one else can invite you to the Discord. Hit me up on the if you can, the HueForge.shop, the store chat, then I can see your purchase history and I can issue you a Discord link. We like to keep it close to people who own HueForge. So then I can send you a link. It's no problem. Yeah, so I do kind of, yeah, this will be available to rewatch, Amy. Absolutely. I got to get my view hours up on YouTube so I can be monetized, right? And just get a little extra stream of income. No, seriously though, it's just helpful to have it up for people because not everyone can make it. Well, that's the thing, Ed. You kind of have to start a program around an undo button. Otherwise, the technical debt to implement the undo button is high. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and do it. But there were so many other things. If you saw, I don't know if you saw the list of the fixes. There's a huge list of what's in this update. A lot of it behind the scenes, and undo is one of them. So just be aware that it's on the list, but undo is much less priority for me. I want to brighten you out. Right? There we go. I like that. Gives maybe my facets back. Just got here. How do you download it? You should have gotten an email that Scott, you should have gotten an email from the email that you used when you bought it with a download link. Alternately, you can just go back to your store download link from your old email. It should still be updated, I believe. Have to have a registry of changes saved in a buffer or file cache somewhere. You actually, in Qt has a whole undo methodology, but basically every command has to go through it. So I have to hook up every control into that undo methodology. Once you do it, for all the controls you have, then adding new controls isn't a big deal because it's one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. But because I already do that when I add a new parameter or a new checkbox or things like that, I have to go add it to the project state. I have to go add it to all these different places, but it's all kind of like, it's pretty quick to do. And so if you have already implemented undo and then you just make that one change where you say, okay, now I'm going to add it to the project, then you have a lot fewer issues in terms of, adding new undo items is much, much easier. But I didn't do that, and so my technical debt is high. But yeah, so I just want to really temper expectations. Color aware is still janky, but it is my plan after Mac OS to really dive into color awareness. And probably what's going to happen is I'll give multiple different options, and I'll probably spin these a little faster, but they're going to come out as initially, this is a new feature. So as I said, bug fixes and standard quality of life stuff. Like if I am finding issues with the way the image loading works, Matt just found an issue with the way the image loading works. Those will get pushed out immediately to everybody when they're pushed out. But for actually new features like real color aware and things, and like splitting up files and multiple meshes and things like that, those are going to be to the limited commercial and above. And then, right, exactly, Ed. And then as they test it and say, yeah, this is good, or they look at options and say, this one's almost good, let's fix it more. This one's great. This one's terrible, just throw it away. And then we kind of iterate back and forth for a little while. And then it goes into stable. Then everyone will get access to it in the stable. So it's mostly that basically if you pay a little extra in the commercial side, there's benefit to get the features sooner. And I want your feedback. And they're basically my beta testers. Oh, absolutely, Kevin. Kevin, you may at any time contact me in the store chat. That's the best place to do it. It's the easiest for me. I can see your order history. I can issue you a coupon directly from there. I'll issue you a $12 off coupon for an upgrade, and then you just buy the limited commercial edition, and I will, and then you for $18, you'll pay the $30 that you would have paid if you bought it the first time. Yeah, so Ed C hits it right. If you don't implement undo from the beginning, it's a pain in the butt to implement. It has to be implemented at some point, but I think you're gonna get save states or quick saves and loads. Yeah, exactly, Dave Pullman. I'm gonna probably put it right there, and you're gonna get quick saves and reloads and checkpoints basically up there first, and then we'll come and do undos and redos. It is C++. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss that. Josh, yeah, it's C++. And yes, I did notice people bought 2 licenses, and some people bought a personal and a commercial, and I don't know if they thought it didn't include or what, but unfortunately, I can't really refund digital downloads from my store. It basically just won't let me unless it hasn't been downloaded. Well, you just supported me extra, Josh. And okay, so let me pull up the feature list again, the updates again, and we'll talk. Let's just make sure that we've hit what people want to see. Is there anything in particular from especially the new features that people want to see? A lot of this is just persistent user settings and things like that. So absolutely, PC Van Vliet, you may absolutely upgrade your personal licenses at any time, and you may upgrade if you have limited commercial, you want to go professional, or any of them you want to go lifetime. You may always upgrade your license. The one thing, all right, and Goncalo, it will, you will get the Mac update. And my plan with the Mac OS update is not to spend 2 months testing it with my testers. My plan with the Mac OS update is to get it to the limited commercial and above. It'll basically become an option for download. It'll be a second file you can download as a Mac version if you have use for it. And then get, okay, yeah, I'll demo legacy versus new. And then once they say, yeah, this is good, or this is good enough, release this as is, and we know there's some bugs, but we'll just deal with it to have a Mac version, then I'll release it. And I'm hoping that once I give the test version out to the time I actually release will be like a week. I think most features will probably be on the order of a month or two, depending on the complication of the feature. But for the Mac version, I'm trying to get it out as soon as I can. Okay, so yeah. All right, so let me demo the luminance. Let me get the, hold on. Let me find, I have a luminance test image that someone made for me. I'm going to pull this off the screen so I can look at it. I mean, I can show you on a real image, but I want to show you on the test image first because I think that'll actually be more useful. I may not have it here. Here, let's do it with this one. Okay, first of all, one thing that's important to note is the luminance change only affects standard luminance, which combo is part of standard. So it affects the combo luminance, but basically it only affects standard. It doesn't affect any of the other, none of the other ones have this error. So it's only those two. Yeah, so there's a fix for the bug with red and blue. Yeah, I can show that. So let me show. Okay. Yep. Actually, Terry, I just sent you your Discord invite so you can get in there. Okay. Okay, so I can show you it here. Let's see here. We're going to zoom in. It's most helpful to see it with the wireframe. All right, so actually, let's change this up a little bit so it's a little easier. Drop that, drop that, drop that. Okay, so we are red, blue, and white. We're not in legacy mode. Let's see here. Okay, so we have a dark blue, right? Yeah, let's do this. Okay. All right, let's see here. So if I zoom in here, this is red. There's still some luminance overlap here between the red and the green and the teal. If I just do that, there we go. Okay. So you can see that the red is above the blue that's on the face here, right? So if I if I check this legacy mode, you'll see that the red has dropped below the blue. Well, it's dropped relative to the blue. This one may not be the best because the blue is so dark. Let's see up here. Yeah. So now see this part up here is red now instead of blue. If I change the legacy back, well, it's still a little red. Maybe this is not the best. I had a test piece, but this is how different it is in terms of that's legacy. This is not legacy. Legacy, not legacy. It flips them quite a bit. Let me see. I have a test image someone made me, and I don't see it here, but I know I tested with it, so it has to be here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. All right, here's an RGB test image. So what we'll do that. We'll actually bring in RGB. So we have a red and a really dark blue. Let's just bring in a normal blue. Take the black out. We have a white, a red, and then we need a green. Here, let's do a really bright green. That's going to be up there. And then we'll have the red here and the blues down here. Okay. All right. So if we zoom in on the wireframe here, this is like the canonical test case, right? You can see that the red is above the blue. The red mesh is above the blue. And then if I go to legacy, it reverses. Yeah, it's always like that. There, that reverse. That's what or legacy mode is, that the blue is, so this is actually supposed to be the red. This is the red box that you're seeing here, but it's colored blue because that's where the colors are. And this is the blue box, but it's colored red because that's where the sliders are, where you'd expect them to be. So when you go back to this, it's properly blue, red, green. And that's because human eyes perceive blue as darker and dimmer than red, because, you know, human eyes are have the weakest reception in the blue region. Yeah, Kaylin, you were having an issue with something. What was your issue you're having? I saw earlier. What did you comment? I'm not finding it. Oh, never noticed this was an issue. Yeah, I didn't either. Well, you sort of do. You kind of notice you have trouble blending in the way you expect them to. But it was someone who was asking, like, why doesn't it work this way? Why doesn't it work that way? Some good questions, like, why can't you do it this way? Why can't you do it that way? And I said, well, and he showed me this test image, and I said, well, yeah, the red should be above the blue. And he said, yeah, that's what I thought too, but it's not. And he showed me with the wireframe, and I said, oh, yeah, that's not good. So what is it with the different fonts? Yeah, I don't understand the different. Oh, like, is it because your boxes, like, you're not seeing, like, they're big? And I changed the fonts in here. Oh, I did. I did change the font. The default font got changed in here, and I did that specifically because the font that gets picked by default in HueForge or in Qt is not on Mac. So I was trying to avoid having to go arbitrarily pick a different font on Mac. Am I pre-processing the models to images to make them show up as 3D meshes? No, that's what HueForge does. It turns them into 3D meshes, right? That's kind of what it's for, is to turn images into 3D meshes. Can you follow up on that question, James? Oh, am I pre-processing them just to make them show up better? Is that what you're asking, or is it something else? Be interesting to see what would, I mean, color aware here should work pretty well, except for the white. Yeah, the white's going to be wonky, and I need to figure out, there's something going on with white in the color aware space. Like the green's way up top, the white is here right at the bottom. Like in the blue space is really where the white is. Maybe actually blue's down here, but you can see kind of, that's where I need to run this. This is like, these are the kind of test images that are great for figuring out what's going on. Here the white, yeah. So I tried to spread the black and white, black through white, all the way through the image. I basically said, okay, well, if it's red, it goes in this zone. If it's blue, it goes in this zone. And if it's green, it goes in this zone. And if it's black through white, it should cover the whole image. Coolest thing that I have test printed, I still think I am the most proud of the chess sets. The chess boards, I think, are I love the art all the different art styles of HueForge, but I'm really into the faux materials and making things that don't look 3D printed. I mean, the art doesn't really look 3D printed, but making things that people just look right over and don't even think they're 3D printed at all. So I think the chess sets are probably the thing that I'm the most proud of. Cool F whip. Especially the marble one that someone else asked me to make. I just love the fact that you just look right over them and don't even think twice. Or you think, oh, look, that's a cool 3D printed chess set that they put marble into, and it just never even crosses your mind that it's not. That's probably the thing I'm the most proud of at this point. I think. Okay. Any other questions or things you want to investigate here? I don't think this one is affected by sRGB. Oh, it is a little bit. I don't know if you can see that the mesh is changing slightly when you do sRGB. It's not huge, but it does have an effect. So, hey, that is your set, Conan. Am I happy with my logo? I mean, I am not a logo designer. I had a friend offer to do it for me for free. I tried to give him guidance on what I wanted with the logo, and we both kind of went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I really appreciate that he made the logo for me and didn't really ask for anything in return. But if someone were to come up with a really awesome logo that really captured the spirit of HueForge better than this, I would definitely consider switching. Are the releases going to be different? Is white the base layer, or is there? Yeah, white's the base layer in this case. Oh wait, no, white's the top layer. The base layer is blue. There's no base layer because I'm just doing this to color demonstrate. So the blue is the lowest slider. So the blue is your base layer. I'm not going to monetize the Midjourney image that I pulled. So Midjourney's rules on monetization of images is that if you are a paying customer, you can monetize your images. It is not clear to me whether I'm allowed to monetize other people's images. Oh yeah, let me show you Describe. I've updated Describe. Describe now is changed. So now it says, so here it's warning me that I have a pet G white. It doesn't matter in this case, but it says I have a pet G white in here with 3 PLAs. So that's a warning. It tells you that. And then it tells me that I should start with blue at layer number 8, swap to red. So this is clearer than the old version. The old version said, print blue until layer 8, which was confusing. Here I'm saying at layer 8, swap to red. I think that's more clear. At layer 26, 1.1, swap to green, and then white for the rest. Yeah, so I don't know. My reading of the license wasn't 100% clear whether I could monetize any Midjourney image that was not private, or if only I could monetize my own Midjourney images. I was just saying I grabbed those Midjourney images, that eagle, from the Midjourney stream, like the current print stream. And so I'm not planning on using that in any kind of commercial way in terms of selling it. Obviously, I can use it to promote HueForge, but I don't know actually for certain what the rule is on monetizing other people's images if you're a paying customer. But if you're not a paying customer, you're allowed to look at the images personally, but you're not allowed to monetize them. Oh yeah, do you have images here? So the thing is, you don't need a base layer if your image doesn't deserve a base layer. But here's the updates to the describe function. I think this is clear. Do other people think that this is clearer? Can you read it on your screen? I don't know for certain that it's readable on the stream. White for the rest. How do you know when to stop green and transform to white? Oh, that is a good point. Start with blue, swap to red, swap to green, white for the rest. Oh, yeah, I'm backwards on that. So I need to say at this swap to white for the rest. That is actually a bug that we did not catch in testing. Yes, at layer 45, it needs to swap to white. There's going to be a quick patch. And actually, I'm going to show how patches work. I'll patch this tonight with a couple of changes probably. This one is one of them. And the patch will be just an executable. It will be a file. It'll be a zip archive. It'll have the HueForge folder and HueForge.exe, and that's all that'll be in it. So you just unzip just the patch. So it'll be a separate file. It'll be a 0.6.1 patch. Yeah, that's a great catch. And I'll update the current archive as well to 0.6.1, but you won't care about that one as much. That's a great catch. That is wrong. It's because I'm coming from the other direction. I didn't think about it. So yes, I'm missing a swap here in the describe. And then, yeah, it actually says your last layer is set lower than the model height, which in this case is barely true. It says the actual depth is 2.52. Yes, thank you. 43-inch screen and can't read it. Okay. I can't can I use, no, I can't. I could take an image of it. Go away. Sorry, I have a, can I? Yeah, I don't think we have image posting on in here right now, and I don't know that I can stick. I don't know how to do this to stick a comment in here. Yeah, YouTube streaming conversion. -1. Yes, height modifiers still need -1 layer. That's listed in the known issues. And that's just because of the way, that's actually because of the way the slicer is different. We'd have to have a button here that said like the toggled you between height range modifiers and sliders. And I didn't have time to put that in, but maybe when I modify this, I'll put that in. That the slider is the first layer of the new color, and the height range modifier is the actual area that's of color. So internally, HueForge, when it says here layer 45, that actually it's only saying green is from 26 to 44, and 45 is the first white layer. Does that make sense? Okay, so I do have a bug to fix for sure. A patch to release tonight. The white for the rest has to have, transition to white at layer 45. Go, change to white for the rest, or until the end or something like that. Okay, I will fix that. And that is, I think, most of it. We've been on for a little bit under an hour and a half. Any more questions? I feel like I have to go fix this right now, but I'm not going to fix it on stream. Oh, I did add, so the help up here will go to HueForging YouTube, and it will go to the Polymaker filament packs if you want to pick those up. I'll be adding the other filament library links as well in a future update in a not too distant future. I don't think I can possibly put a verbal nail in that coffin because people won't believe it. I don't own the output or commercial rights to the output. I'm just saying that as a derivative work, you have agreed to my license terms that say that based on the license that you have bought, there are certain things you are allowed to do with your product. I cannot do anything with your product. I have no control, authority, visibility, anything, any claim to your product, except to say that as a derivative work, there are limits to what you're allowed to do with that product, given your current licensing in HueForge. But I am not allowed to do anything with it. Like I couldn't take it and sell it or do anything with it. I have no rights to it in terms of that. I have actually talked to at least one slicer company about that. Okay. Yeah. Warning message, Steve. Never got the email from Polymaker. Hit me up in store chat. If you ordered, let me talk about Polymaker coupons real quickly. Does that help you, 260 Prince? Like, there's a difference between me saying as a derivative product, I'm putting restrictions on what you can do with this a little bit, and I claim ownership over it. Okay, so Polymaker coupon. The Polymaker coupons, if you got your order in before the 24th, you will get your coupon before 12 a.m. Pacific time, the 24th. I really should have pushed him to say, let's do 11:59 p.m. the 23rd, so it was clear, because I had some people thinking that the 24th was still good to go. You will get your coupon. Your coupon is still good for 90 days from issue. What I will say that in the last week, Polymaker, because of the Prime Day and everything, Polymaker got behind. I didn't really get behind until this weekend. Polymaker got a little behind, and we prioritized getting coupons out to the people who had spent more money. So if you got a $12, if you got a personal use, which thank you for buying a personal use, I really appreciate it. If you got a personal use, your coupon may be back. We might be backed up to the 15th or 16th. I did ask Nick to fulfill some of those, but you'll get your coupon probably within the week. Especially if you did, there were a ton of lifetime orders over the weekend, which thank you for that as well. So those will be pushed out over the course of the week. I didn't actually push the coupons to Polymaker. I didn't push the orders to Polymaker until Monday after the deadline. So like, I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're sitting there waiting for the Monday deadline. You will not get two, Josh. You got your personal use coupon. It's one coupon per customer. Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, Josh. It's one coupon per customer, which was labeled everywhere. So, yeah, some people missed it. You weren't the only one that did that. And yeah, so I have asked about. Are he in the Discord, in the Hangout channel on the Discord? Oh, okay. So they're all having fun without me. Is that what's happening? Oh, post party. Okay, we do a post party. Okay. Let's see. Are trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah. So anyway, Polymaker coupons are coming. I expect them to come out this week. They are going to continue to issue coupons for the personal $12 licenses. They feel like that's still worth it, and they still want to support personal use. And then but I think we're still doing this all manually. We got to figure out a way to automate it. Like me copying it over to him is pretty easy, but he literally has to send a bunch of individual emails, which I'm sure is like, that's what I would look forward to. Let me send like 100 or 200 email messages. And okay. Other questions? I'm happy to take other questions. I know we're kind of dragging at this point. Trying to think if there's anything else specific. Let me load. Let me do this real quickly. Let's just load up. I did put, this is one thing, I added some more projects. And one of the ones I added was the color aware test that I posted into the Discord. I don't know why that moved. But I posted into the Discord a few days ago. So this is the color aware test image that I did. And you can see that things are separated down a little bit differently than you would expect. So Discord link, Etsy, yeah, please hit me up in, as I said, the HueForge.shop. If you just go to HueForge.shop and then go to the store chat and ask for a Discord link if you haven't already. Maybe you already did, and I'm just not tracking that. Okay, yep. And I've gotten some requests for things here that I'm not looking at right now. Okay, so hit me up in store chat. I will get you sorted out after the stream. And this, good question, Robert Banks. Since I think the Mac version is imminent, I'm just going to hold the current pricing until the Mac version release, because I have promised that the Mac OS release will be at this the early access pricing. And so then it'll probably only be for a week after the Mac OS, but I won't be going to full price or the full indicated price right now. It'll step up. So I would assume, don't hold me to these prices, but I would assume $16, $17 for personal, probably $40 for limited commercial, maybe $100 for professional, and like $200, $225 for lifetime at that point. Basically, as you know, this is a big update of features. Obviously, there's still some issues to fix, but this is a big update of quality of life and general features. Mac OS is something I really want to get out the door, but then I'm going to really start working on pushing new full feature sets. And so that's when I'm going to start adjusting the pricing. And it's potentially possible that I adjust the pricing more than this, that I say, actually, I'm going to go bigger. And the release of HueForge has been well beyond what I expected. I mean, obviously the Polymaker coupon had a big part in that, and I, really appreciate that. But I mean, like, without the Polymaker coupon, how many people would have bought lifetimes, or would have gone, maybe a limited commercial or professional, but not a lifetime? There are a ton of people who got lifetime just because they were getting filament. So it's been pretty incredible. At the same time, I feel like it put a lot more pressure on me than I was expecting. I was expecting, I don't know, a few hundred orders a month, and not as many users that really were like, hey, we put faith on you, and please, don't screw us. So, yeah. So 260 prints, it runs on the Mac. It's just like, one of the issues is, I can resize this window all I want here, and there's no problems. It resizes and everything. Well, I mean, you have some issues with docks, but the mesh is not working, or is fine. If I resize on the Mac, the mesh gets completely invalidated and goes blah until you hit remesh. I have no idea why. So, yeah. Didn't pay for the filament, never used the coupon. Why didn't you use the coupon? Use the coupon. The coupon didn't cost me anything. It just cost Polymaker something. Well, thank you, Everlasting Media. I appreciate that. Um, I mean, I think so. My thought process has always been that I want the personal license to for the people can get it, pretty easily. I think 25 is still really affordable for what it does. Um, and then I want the commercial users to mostly be the support of HueForge. And I think that if you find a commercial niche, that the lifetime makes perfect sense. Like I would immediately, if I found, oh, I'm selling, $100 a month of HueForge or $200 a month of HueForge, um, why would you not get the lifetime? That's kind of what I thought. Um, yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, I really wanted to reward the people who hopped in early and said, "We're going to support you because we think you're doing something cool, or you're an independent developer," and I really wanted to support those people with and also like, hey, you know what? It took me a month between the last update and this update. The 20 seconds when I put the last update out, this one came out the 25th of July. Um, and is I said, it took a month for that, but you can't really complain because a lot of you paid $12 for it, and so it was kind of like I'm going to price it cheaper so that you're not going to be. I know there's bugs, I know there's errors, I know there's issues. So, um, okay, I think I need to hop off. I will join and listen in on the HueForge after party, but I need to fix the describe really quickly. And get that out so that you guys get proper described text. I mean, you know how to look at a slider and do it, but it should be proper described text. So unless I'll give you a couple more minutes. I know we're a little bit delayed. I'll give you a couple more minutes for questions. If there's no more questions, then we can carry them over to the after party. And yeah, anyone who needs a Discord link, please hit me up in the chat. It is for paying customers only, but I assume most of you are. And then if you need upgrades, let me know in the chat. Also, you can email me, but it's just way easier for me in the shop chat. It has all your order information. I can issue Discord discount codes, and I can issue I have the Discord link as a quick thing, real quick to do there. So I appreciate it there. Hitting me in HueForge.shop. It'll take you to the shop, and then do the shop chat. I think it's the bottom right corner. Bottom right, it's actually over here. All right. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with me. You guys have been a great group. Thank you so much. And I will get that quick patch out, and then there's someone on Discord that needs some help with their crashing out load. What about upgrading from commercial lifetime? Yeah, absolutely, Josh. If you want to upgrade from commercial lifetime, hit me up. I'll give you a coupon. And in fact, since I know you paid twice already for something, I'll give you a special coupon so that if you go upgrade to lifetime, you're just paying the $175 and not all of your stuff together. I'll be able to see both of your orders. So I'll just give you a better coupon so that you can actually level out what you're paying. The sorcerer. All right. And I will talk to you guys in the Discord. Good night.